Hi everyone! For my final project, I decided to create an emergency services locator in ArcGIS Experience Builder. I chose this project because I live near Los Angeles, and as you probably know, the traffic can be unbearable. Los Angeles has been found to have the worst traffic in the world, which can be especially problematic in the case of an emergency. To create my project, I started by working in ArcGIS Pro. In the catalog pane on the Portal tab, I was able to access all of the amazing ArcGIS Living Atlas data. The first layer I wanted to find was the boundary I would use to create my study area of Los Angeles County. I used the filter to show only administrative boundaries, which allowed me to easily find the USA County's Generalized Boundaries layer. After clearing the filter, I searched for emergency services to find the rest of my layers. You can see here that I found layers for police stations, hospitals, fire stations, and ambulance services. All of these layers have been clipped to the Los Angeles County layer so that the map is focused only on my study area. Once I had my data ready in ArcGIS Pro, I went to the Share tab so I could share my map as a web map. This allowed me to share all of these layers and create a web map that can be seen in ArcGIS Online. I embed the map from ArcGIS Online into my Experience Builder application. Before we dive into the application, I want to give some more information on the layers that I ended up using. I pulled up the item details pages for the layers in ArcGIS Living Atlas. The first layer is the Law Enforcement Structures layer. This layer was provided by Esri US Federal Data and was last updated in July of 2024, so we know the layer is authoritative and very up-to-date. This layer includes law enforcement structures for the entire United States. If we scroll down, we can view more information and see that there are point layers representing both police stations and correctional facilities. This work is licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license, which means that it can be used and modified freely for all purposes. The next layer is Medical Emergency Response Structures. This layer is also provided by Esri US Federal Data and was updated in July of 2024 as well, making this also authoritative and up-to-date. Similar to the Law Enforcement Structures layer, this layer also contains data for the entire United States. If we scroll down, we can see more details and see that the layers included are hospitals, ambulance services, and fire stations. If I wanted to learn more about these layers, I could click on them or open them in the map viewer and explore their attribute tables. This layer is also covered by the Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license, so it is safe to use and modify as well. The final Living Atlas layer is the USA County's Generalized Boundaries layer. This feature layer is managed by Esri and was last updated in late July of 2024. As you can now see, all of the data I used for this project is as up-to-date as possible, as well as authoritative. There is one polygon layer included for the USA counties. All of the counties in the country are included in this dataset, but I isolated only Los Angeles County for the purpose of this study. Since all of my datasets cover the entire United States, it would be easy to scale up my project to cover the whole country. I chose against this to reduce processing times, but I would consider expanding the study area in the future. In the future, if I wanted my project to stay as up-to-date as these layers do, I would modify my workflow so that the processing happens on a weekly basis to account for any updates to data layers. Next, we will look at the layers that I made. The first is the editable feature layer that I created and enabled for public data collection so that users can create points on my web map to indicate neighborhoods they are considering moving to. We can scroll down to view more information on the layer and click the settings page to see some more of the settings I changed. I approved the layer for public data collection and enabled editing. For editing, users can add, delete, and update both the attributes and geometry of points on the map. This is helpful so that they can customize the layer to their specifications and change them whenever they want. Finally, we have my web map, which contains all of the aforementioned layers. I filled out the item details page with some metadata, and as you can see, the layer list includes all 6 layers for potential neighborhoods, police stations, hospitals, fire stations, ambulance services, and the Los Angeles County boundary. Let's take a look at some of the things you can do with my application. I'm in the market for a new home in Los Angeles. I took to Zillow and finally found a house that is perfectly within my budget. The main things I look for in a house is that it has more bathrooms than bedrooms and more bedrooms than people, so this is perfect and affordable. Let's copy this address so we can use it in my app. And here is my app. It has a number of tools to help me explore emergency services near me and other nearby areas in Los Angeles County. I'm going to start by clicking the search tool. I pasted the address from Zillow here, and the map automatically zooms to the location of my future home. Using the editor tool, I can place a point in the location of the house and give it a name. This is useful if I have multiple locations that I want to add to the map. I'll zoom back out to our study area, and now we can use the Find Closest tool. The Find Closest tool is useful because it will find the closest emergency services locations to my home while taking into account driving time or other metrics such as straight line distance and walking time. For the input layer, I will set potential neighborhoods because I want to start the analysis from the future home point location. I could choose any of these other layers as the near layer, but for this demo, I want to know which hospital is closest to me. I want to use driving time to measure which feature is closest to me, and I'll set the departure time to tomorrow at 8 p.m. This will use traffic values that are typical for a Friday at 8 p.m. I want to limit the number of closest locations to only 1, and limit the search range so that it can only be a maximum of 15 minutes away from me. I will set a name for the output layer and save it to the folder I created for my final project. I am going to configure an environment setting to help with processing times. I want to keep the output coordinate system the same as the input layers, but I'm going to change the processing extent to the extent of one of my layers. I will set this to the Los Angeles County boundary so that the tool only processes within the extent of my region of interest. While that runs, let me show you some other cool things that my app can do. I included a select tool so that I can select features on the map. You can change the select type if you want to select using a rectangle, lasso, circle, line, or just a single point. Once I select an area using this lasso, the map zooms to the selected features automatically. Below the map, I included a table that displays attributes for my layers. You can toggle between the options to view different features' attributes. You can also display only the selected values if you wish. This can be useful if you select a region around your future home to see all of the emergency services that are nearby. Finally, I included a measurement tool that allows you to measure between 2 features to see how far apart they are using a straight line distance. I can click my house and then select a nearby fire station and as many points as I want before double-clicking to get the final measurement. Now that the tool has had time to process, we can see that the Find Closest tool has succeeded. The map automatically zooms to the suggested route from my house to the nearest hospital. I can click View Details to see more information about the results of this tool. I can also click the feature for the hospital to see more information about it. Now I know that this will be my hospital once I move into my new home.